Hey guys, Tom here again, once again on the Druid deck construction screen. I promise I will put up videos about a different class, but in all honesty, I love the Druid the most. And this video is brought about by a little bit of a special occasion that happened on the ladder. I ran into rank 8 players at the time of recording, Zoombuh on ladder, and I want to show you guys how that match went, but first I want to show you how my deck works. So this is a little bit different from my other deck. It's a bit more late game focused, I would say. Though sometimes you get amazing draws and you just kind of come out incredible in the early game, which is sort of true with Innervate and any Druid deck. The notable things here, like differences from the Burst Druid deck I put out the video on, are these Ancient Watchers. That's one big thing. They're 4/5 for 2 mana, but they can't attack. So they're worthless completely, unless you can give them Taunt or Silence or something like that in Druid. Other classes have other ways of making them useful as well. They work well in Druid because of Keeper of the Grove, I would say. And also just kind of because of the general tempo of the deck, where, like, because you're a mid-range deck, dropping a 4/5 is really nice. There's a lot of good removal at 4 toughness, but not as much at 5. But yeah, so you can just like throw Sun Fury Protector. I have a Spellbreaker in here. Most decks don't go that far in terms of making the Ancient Watcher useful, but I feel like Spellbreaker is a pretty useful card in general. He's not terrible. And then Defender of Argus and Keeper of the Grove. So there's like 7 cards to help make Ancient Watcher useful, like almost a third of the deck. So solid card in this deck, very good. I'm very happy to start my my game with one in my hand, even if I don't yet have anything to give it Taunt or Silence. Nat Peggle, of course, he's a standby in almost every deck. We've got 1 Savage Roar and 1 Force of Nature, so it's not something that we're building the deck around, but we like having that 14 damage burst. It manages to let you eke out games pretty often. Harvest Golems are just hyper efficient. Tinkmaster is awesome for getting rid of difficult to deal with threats. Swipe is just a great card. And yeah, the same is pretty much true of the rest of these. Black Knight's a little bit debatable. I would say that he's debatable. I've even seen people say that, like, Argent Commander is better than Cairn. So, because I was playing against Zoombuh, and he live streams, it's, you know, like, after the game, I went and I found his deck list just to try and give you guys that perspective as well, because it's a Druid Mirror matchup, and so it's sort of, you know, important to note whatever differences there might be in the decks. So, he has, you know, 1 Ancient Watcher, not 2. He has Bloodmage Thalanos in there for spell damage, and other differences, he's also running 1 Savage Roar. He's got the 2 Azure Drakes in there for card draw and spell power. That's a big one. And then he has that Argent Commander in place of Cairn Bloodhoof, which is sort of more of a finisher, I guess. You're pretty much saying I would rather be able to deal 4 damage twice, / deal it once and then burn their removal of some type. I'd rather do that than have something that has 5 health twice. So, Cairn Bloodhoof, pretty strong. Argent Commander, I see where it's coming from. I don't think that I'll be adding it into my deck right now, though. And then he's got the Black Knight and 2 Ancient of Lores. So, very similar decks. He's not running Cenarius. In place of that, he has Bloodmage Thalanos. And yeah, those are the differences. We're actually 3 cards away from having the same deck, I think. So, I mean, I haven't actually viewed the game through this lens, but I mean, you could look at it and say, you know, when I draw an Ancient Watcher instead of like Bloodmage Thalanos or an Azure Drake, is that good? If I want to draw Cairn instead of an Argent Commander, is that good? Because I really trust my deck, but obviously Zoombuh's a great player. He's rank 8 on the ladder. Obviously his deck is great as well, and honestly his deck is probably the better deck, and probably the one that you should be emulating versus mine, but heck, I'm having a lot of luck with this deck. Let's go ahead and hop into the game and see how it plays out. I should say that I am post-commentating this, because I just, I wasn't recording, like, I recorded the game, of course, but I was on my laptop, so I wasn't about to have, like, video of me, like, slouched back on the couch playing. I'm recording after the fact.
My greetings.
So he starts out very well-mannered, says my greetings. Shoot it back to him. He's got the turn 2 play. I didn't play anything on turn 1, just passed the turn. He throws out the bad-mannered well played when dropping Nat Pagel. I think that's supposed to just be a statement of how good Nat Pagel is. And I've got nothing really to deal with the Nat Pagel right away, so I just roll out my Ancient Watcher.
Well played.
Throw the well played back because it seems fun. Mostly just because it seems fun.
Well played.
Or exchanging pleasantries, you can see. We both think that we're playing very well. I actually did go and talk to him after the game. He was very nice. Yeah, very kind. I just dropped into his stream and like chatted with him. The internet's super cool. I love the future. We've got a Harvest Golem out now, so potentially we'll be able to deal with Nat Pagel at some point. Might be 2 turns from now, though. And he's going really aggressive. I am actually not positive that I agree with that play. Mostly because, like, this is actually really great against what he just did. Like, really good. If he had gone Druid of the Claw, he could exchange blows with the Ancient Watcher. No, yeah, he could, because he'd have 6 health. I don't know, though. Going aggressive is really not bad. Druid decks can really get aggressive and just get out of control very quickly. And he's got Nat Pagel there, so I guess he's a little bit less concerned about card advantage. But, yeah, so he goes for the face.
Well played.
The Nat Pagel not drawing for him is a big deal. A big deal for him. I think it's had, you know, this will be its 3rd opportunity to draw, and it still doesn't draw for him. And that's like, really bad. Really bad when you've got a Nat Pagel that doesn't draw for you, but he's such a great card in general that you gotta take the good with the bad. Nat Pagel, sometimes you don't draw, but man, he's so solid, you've gotta run him. I'm looking at my options here. I'm probably, I don't recall specifically, but I think Druid of the Claw is definitely a pick here, and I'm just trying to decide what I'm going to do with my creatures attacking here. And I would say that what I want to do is attack the Defender of Argus into the Nat Pagel, and then trade the Damaged Golem. Not that, Tom. Don't do that. That's worse. That's worse. You want to put the Damaged Golem into the Druid of the Claw. Yes, Tom. Yes. Yes! Nailed it. I make good plays based entirely on my own perception. And I go with that Chillin' Yeti. The reason why I go with the Chillin' Yeti is because I don't value hitting him in the face quite enough to just do a Druid of the Claw in charge form. But if I do a Druid of the Claw in bear form, it doesn't get the defense of having that Defender of Argus, or sorry, not Defender of Argus, Ancient Watcher there with Taunt. So I have to choose between either, like, doing a pretty lackluster play, I feel, in the 4-2, or 4-4 Druid of the Claw running into the 2-3, or having it not be defended by the Ancient Watcher. So I choose neither, and I just go with the Chillin' Yeti. It's less mana efficient, but I think it's correct here. He's thinking about doing awful things to my Ancient Watcher. I think I recall what this is. The 2 possibilities really would be Wrath and Swipe. So if he casts Wrath on it, he'd hit it for 3, and then he could either run into it with his Hero Power and his Sun Fury Protector, or he could run into it with the Chillin' Yeti. But it is Swipe.
Time waits for no one.
He just runs into it with the Sun Fury Protector. And I think that would be a mistake. That seems incredibly overly aggressive to me. I would almost always hit that Chillin' Yeti. Which probably means that it's a worse play. But, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's Defender of Argus that you've got to account for. There's even like some nonsense with like Savage Roar and then Wrath for 1 in order to deal with the Chillin' Yeti. Or even just like running the Yeti in and then me Hero Powering into him. Like, that's not worse, but in this case, he got really punished for it. But I guess the odds of me having that Defender of Argus are pretty low, especially given that he had already seen 1 Defender of Argus. So I can totally understand where that play is coming from. It just, he happened to get punished for it here. I think the Defender of Argus is like the absolute like no-brainer play there, though. And then trading with the Chillwind Yeti. He does have a Black Knight, which is rather unfortunate. But the good news is that like that Yeti already got value. That Yeti already killed another Yeti. So, I mean, he killed a 5-1 with it. Black Knight can get way, way more crushing than that. Like, if he kills a whole Druid of the Claw with that Black Knight, it's bad news. But I can also, like, what he wanted to do is he just wanted to slow down the clock, basically. Because he'll run out of health pretty fast if he starts trading into that 5-1. And it's such a bursty matchup. I feel like most people do run Force of Nature and Savage Roar. So, you wanna keep your health total high. I'm actually going to double check his deck list. Does he have? Yeah, he does have 1 Force of Nature and 1 Savage Roar in it. Which I think is correct. You don't really want to go with 2 of those. It's just a little bit too reliant at that point. You kind of need that burst to play out, and you just end up with them in your hand early game really often. Savage Roar is useful in your hand early game, but the same is not really true of Force of Nature.
I must safeguard the land.
Seeing as it costs 6 mana, and like it's a good way of removing a lot of threats off of the board that are at low health, though. It's definitely a good card, but I don't think it's worth having 2 of. Decide to go ahead and Keeper the Grove on his Black Knight, taking it out. And throw a Chillwind Yeti out there. Solid 8 mana turn. Really, really happy to have that Keeper the Grove in order to deal with the Black Knight. And Azure Drake is an amazing card. I don't run it in this deck because I just don't feel like I have quite the room that I need. I really, really like having all of those ways of making Ancient Watcher useful. Which, as you can see, I just drew, and I have none of those ways of making Ancient Watcher useful in my hand. But it happens. So in terms of attacking on the board here, I could clear off all of the Taunters and have every one of my minions at 1 health. That is an option. I could go ahead and Cenarius here, which seems strong, actually. I could also Black Knight the Azure Drake. That's what I should do. I should Black Knight the Azure Drake, run the Chillwind Yeti into the Keeper of the Grove. No, Cenarius is actually way stronger. Yeah, because I've then got a 6-7 that I don't even need to trade into anything. This was a good play. That's wrong. I want to go ahead and use the Keeper of the Grove, because I want to leave the health higher on everything. I want to leave everything above 1 health to limit the value of swipe. And that right there was actually a huge misplay. That's 6 damage to him. Given that I've got 2 Druid of the Claws in my hand, I don't need that extra damage right now. And leaving the 2-3 on the board, if he's holding Savage Roar and Force of Nature, loses me the game. It loses me the game completely. Force of Nature and Savage Roar alone do 14 damage, and then the +2 damage onto the Sun Fury Protector with Savage Roar would be another 4, would be 18 health. It would be exact lethal.
Natural mistake.
I recognize that and say, that's actually a mistake, but I should know a little bit better than that. Regardless, you have to have 2 cards in his hand. Like, the odds are pretty low of that coming out. But it is definitely a hole here. That's a leak. I didn't need the 6 damage to his face, and I should have taken out the Sun Fury Protector, for sure. He is measuring his options. He decides he needs to draw a card, and I think...
My shield for Argus.
I think that given that I have 2 Druid of the Claws, pretty much there was not much that he could play after the Azure Drake that would win him the game, or stop him from losing the game in short order. He can't decide. He cannot decide whether to attack something or not. I think if he had traded with the Defender of Argus, he maybe could have won this, but I, really fortunately, am holding a Tinkmaster and also a Black Knight, which opens up the taunters and allows me to go in for lethal. I'm very carefully going around the enemy minions because the way for me to lose here is to accidentally hit a minion. And there you guys have it. I went up against Zoombuh. He was rank 8 on ladder. I beat him. I had a great game. It's really fun. Yeah, and then I recorded it and I brought it to you guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I will make videos of any other, I guess, notable games, either through crazy plays or stuff like that. I'll keep on putting out arena videos for you. You guys seem to be enjoying Hearthstone. I'm really enjoying making videos for you. So I will see you next time.